Are you a bicycle enthusiast that loves to get out and enjoy the fresh air, get some good healthy exercise, and enjoy the beautiful countryside, and even have gone so far as to purchase a hitch-mounted bicycle rack like you see lying on the floor here, and only to find out when you're done enjoying the ride, you get home and you go, what in the heck am I going to do with this rack? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you my journey of trying to figure out a good way to store the rack in my garage. So if you're interested, stay tuned. All right, let's get started. I had to take a little break and did a 30-mile bike ride between the introduction and tackling this project, so I'm ready to go. The first thing I want to do now is take all this stuff over here on that portion of the wall away so I can get at it and we can do our work. So I'm going to go move stuff right now. So there we go. Simple as that. I got a free wall to work on. So the next thing we're going to do is talk a little bit more about how we're going to mount it and figure out where the studs are. The first thing I want to do is get the general dimensions of the device as far as the width and the length so we can see how that fits up on the wall. So we'll do the length first, and I want to go from the end of this support bar that folds up for the bike rack and put it out about general where it's at, and then go to the other one at this end. And if you look at that and it's just approximate, it's about 76, 77 inches. So we'll call it 80 inches overall length. And then the distance across here will go from the edge of this to the edge of the hitch. I'll keep the hitch folded up like it would be in transport when it's hanging on the wall. And if we look at that, that's approximately, looks like about 30 inches. So we've got 80 inches versus 30 inches. So I think what that says to me, going across the wall, hanging it horizontally, is going to be kind of tough. So here is 80 inches where my left hand is over to where the end is over on the wood. That's pretty long. That's a lot of wall space. But if we go to the 30 inches, we'll take 30 here. 30 inches is only this wide. So I think that's the way to do it. I can hang it vertically. And so the logic then would be to figure out a way to put some hooks under this cross beam that's right in the center. And so if we look at what that distance is to the floor, that's about 37, so we'll call it 40. So what we're going to want to do is have some hooks coming out of the wall that are about 40 inches right here. And if thinking about trying to lift that up there, I think that's doable. We may even go up to, 45 or more than that, just to leave a little space under that so it's not resting on the floor. So I think that's our game plan. Figure out how we can put a support across the wall with some ladder hooks on there that we can lift this thing up and set it on. So with that in mind, let's go over and look at what we're going to have to use to make this happen. So I'm over at my wood scrap cart. This is one of the results of building a new house. You end up with a whole bunch of extra pieces that I couldn't dare throw away. And I've thrown in wood in there as I've accumulated it over the years. And I'm going to look for a piece that I think would be good on the wall. And in the back here, I have this piece. It's like a trim piece of wood that was used for going around the edges of corners around our deck and things. I'd say it's about, three-quarters of an inch, maybe even an inch. And I think if you look at this length here, I think it'll be a perfect size to put on the wall. So we'll use this piece as our starting point for creating a mounting point on our wall, so I'm not drilling into the sheetrock, but rather into the studs in this piece of wood. I'm over at my workbench now, and I thought I'd lay out all the stuff that we're going to need to make this mounting bracket on the wall. And as I had shown you over at the wood box, the scrap wood box, this is a piece of wood I'm going to use just for reference here. See how thick this is. Well, this is 1 inch thick, so that's good. That's good engagement for the pieces. And what the plan is to use these 3/16" lag bolts, which are 2.5 inches long, which means with an inch here, these will go 1.5 inches into the studs in the wall. Now I should note on here, I've marked off 16 inches between each of the studs here. I'll show you how I use the stud finder in a second, but what I did was I took the length of this board, added 3 inches on to the ends, and then we've got 16 plus 16 is 32, and 3 is 35, and 3 is 38. So this board is 38 inches long, and I'm going to center it so the 3 and possibly only 2 of the studs that are covered by this I can fasten to. And I'll use these 3 16-inch lag bolts. And then I have washers that I've got. I had those in my spare hardware as well. And I'll mount those so when it tightens down on this wood, the head of the lag bolt is running on this and it gives a good tight fit. So once we got that done, we got that mounted, the next thing is, what do you hang this from? Well, having a board this long, now I can take it and figure out where I want the hooks to hold the bike rack up on the wall. And I purchased a box of 4 of these from Amazon. I'll put this on in the description. And just for reference, the bike rack is approximately 55 to 60 pounds. So that means if you're trying to hang it with 2 hooks, each hook's got to at least hold 30 pounds. And as you can see, I've got 4 here. So if I find out I'm having these things bend a little bit, I'll just add a 3rd one and give me 30% more holding power on the bike rack. So these will be then mounted to this wood. And so you say, how am I going to do that? Well, I've got these 2.5-inch multi-purpose construction screws. They're spacks. They've got the torque driver ends on them. I like these a lot better than the Phillips head because those strip too easy. And I've got the fitting that I can put into my torque wrench. And what I'll do is take that, put that down into there like that, position it where I want it, and then just tighten it in place. And I've got 2 fastening points for it, so each of those will hold half of the weight on each of these bars. So I'm pretty confident that by mounting this to at least 2 of the studs and even 3, and then with lag bolts, and then using these that go into the wood even past this, we've got good engagement to hold these hooks in place once we hang the bike rack on these hooks. First thing I want to do is show you how the stud finder works. I have this one, it's from Lowe's. There's all sorts of stud finders out there, so whatever you got, they all do the same thing. You essentially set this on the wall, and this one has a battery in it, and you push down this button and hold it down while you slide it, and lights will come up right here. So watch, there should be a stud in this area. There you go, 2 lights, 3 lights, and it just continues to move across. And if we go another 16 inches where the studs should be, here they show up again. And then finally, if I want to go way over here, we got another one. So that's how you find the studs. I put marks here on all 3 of them. And now what I need to do is figure out how high on the wall I want to mount this wood that allows me to put those brackets on and set the hitch. So if you recall, the middle crossbar on the hitch was about 30 inches. And so I want it, I put it up to 40. So it says that this particular surface here has to be at 40 inches. Well, if you look at how this thing mounts on there, it's below the wood. So I've got to find a place to mount this on the wall that, let's see if I can do this here. I'll hold this up, and then those 2 screws will be in there, and this, where my hand is holding at the top of that, needs to be at about 42 inches or so right there. And then once we get that established, then you just put this board up in there, put in the lag bolts on these studs, and you've got a mounting surface. So that'll be our next project. Okay, I've went ahead and saved you the pain and agony of watching me drill holes in the wood, but I wanted to talk to you about how I positioned this board height-wise. So if you recall, I wanted to have the crossbar on the bike frame resting on this at about 40 inches. Well, if you take this and put it up here, it's about 2.5 inches from this surface to the bottom of this, and then this is a 7 1/4 high board, so that's about 10 inches. So what I did was I measured up 50 inches from the floor to get this surface here, And then if you don't have one, you should have a level to tell you how level things are. And I wanted to make sure this is level, because as anal engineers, when they look at something as they're pulling in the garage and see it cockeyed, it just drive me crazy. So once I got the 50-inch mark marked here for the top of this board, I put this up, and then I installed one of these lag bolts. I had already drilled holes into this piece of wood that they'd fit through, and then used my torque gun to run it into the studs about 1.5 inches. And I did that 4 times. And I don't know if you can see how level this is, but it's one of my pet peeves is to make sure things are level. If you look at the center bubble here, that's in between the 2 lines, and that thing's all level. So that's how I went about trying to get this mounting board fastened solid. All right, the next thing we got to do is figure out how far apart these brackets need to be on that mounting board we put on the wall, and to make sure it's good to hold the weight of this bike rack, particularly because this side's a little heavier because of the parts that are used to attach to the car trailer hitch. So my thought is I'll put one right in here, kind of eyeball where that's at, because I'll have to come back and measure it, and I only have one of these. And then I learned there's another problem over here with this support rod. I can't just pick it up and put it on because of this curved part. I can't fit that through there. So what I'll have to do is put this one up first and then move the rack over so it slides in place, and then engage the one over here. So we'll find that out when we put it up, but the distance between these two, if I take my tape measure, I kind of eyeball this side over here where it's going to be, and then this one over here. That comes out about 14 inches of space between the mounting points of these 2 brackets. Okay, these studs in the wall are 16 inches apart, and so I measured 1 inch off the center line of these 2 and 1 inch off the center line this way inward. So here's one line and here's another line, and you can see I've already pre-drilled or tapped in holes that the threads of the screws that I'll put in can fasten into in this board. So that's our next step, is to get these mounted. All right, I went ahead and mounted the 2 ladder hooks here. One thing I learned I had the Torx 1.5 inch long screws here that were going to go into this board. I found out that the head was just barely bigger than the hole, so I went ahead and added little small washers under each of them so that when the head tightened down, it would get and grab on this real tight. So a little trial and error there. When I ran the screw in, it went right through the outer edge of this tube. So I backed it out, put a washer on that, and it fits fine. Nice and sturdy. And as I had mentioned on getting my board level, I got out my level and did the same thing on the side here, and I won't zoom in on it, but I made sure that these were vertical mountings onto this piece of wood support, just again, so I'm happy when I drive into my garage. And you can see these are bent a little bit. You can move those around a little bit. That's just the way those are, but I think it'll work good. Real solid. Wall's not moving or anything, so I think we're ready to get the rack hung on the wall. All right, here comes the test. I'm going to try to pick this up and hang it on the 2 hooks here. Get this off of here. And I'll apologize in advance for all the grunts and groans you'll probably hear as I'm doing this. I'll first kind of stand it up on the end so I can get my bearings here. Okay, we made it that far. And then we're going to take it. Remember, I've got to lift the right side up over that bend up part on the bracket before I can slide it in. So we'll try to accomplish that first. We got that there. And then now I want to see if I can get this, pick it up in a different place, slide it over. It looks like I'm hitting something here. Okay, got the pin there. We'll pick that up and slide it a little bit more over. There we go. And there we go. We got it up. You can see this, I had to slide it through this bracket here because of this. And then bring the camera around here so you can see the other dilemma I had. If you look down in here, here's the pin that holds this in place on the hitch on the car. And so when I tried to slide that over, when it first got mounted, it kept hitting that, so I had to kind of lift it up over. So you can see here, I can't lift it with one hand, but if you lift this up, you can kind of slide that in there and drop it down in by that pin. And then I've got this one about as far over as we can go, and we got good balance on the bracket. Pretty happy with that. So there you have it. I got my 2-bike rack mounted to the wall securely, and now what we need to do is move all the stuff that I had on the wall back to see if I was able to hang it and still keep the same storage space. So let me go ahead and move stuff back. So there you go. I got my bike rack hanging on the wall, and it's not on the floor, and everything that was against this wall before is now back against the wall. Granted, I have a few things in front of the bike rack that I'll have to move when I want to get to the bike rack to take it off and on, but I can simply just take those things, put them over in my rat's nest area while I'm using the rack. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, and by all means, if you got any questions about what I did in this video or any comments that you'd like to share, by all means, put them in the comment section of this video. And if you enjoy these how-to type videos, you ought to check out my YouTube channel, RSTechALO. Not only do I have tips like this and how I organize my garage, 8 tips on how to organize my garage, I have several that are tech related on iPads, iPhones, PCs, software, and even smart homes. So if you're interested in how to do some things on your own, by all means, check out my YouTube channel, RSTechALO.